Have you ever felt, what if you're doing everything right, training every day, pushing your body, breathing pain after pain, and yet something just stopped working? What if the more effort you put in, the less response you get? That's the question almost no one dares to face, because it doesn't point to a lack of strength. It points to a deeper, silent error, hidden in the shadow of misunderstood discipline. What you're about to hear may change the way you train, not because it will reveal a secret exercise or a miraculous technique, but because it exposes a truth that many avoid. There is a moment when the body stops screaming and begins to fall silent. And this silence is not rest, it's an alert. It's the limit being surpassed unconsciously. It's transformation being sabotaged from the inside out. At this point in the journey, breathing becomes heavy even before training begins. Movements lose precision. Pain no longer teaches, it only demands. The shadow grows between intention and execution, and the hero realizes that he is not fighting against the weight of his own body, but against his own blind insistence. It is here that the hero discipline begins to be truly tested, not as brute force, but as lucidity amidst internal conflict. Perhaps what you are about to discover explains why so many give up before seeing the truth. Because admitting something is wrong requires more courage than continuing to repeat the mistake. And it is precisely in this space, between effort and emptiness, between failure and rebirth, that this story unfolds, like an archive that few are willing to confront. Before moving on, comment below with a word that describes how you feel. You feel it when you train hard, but you don't see progress. At first, everything seems to work. There's an almost euphoric feeling in waking up every day determined not to fail. The routine becomes a symbol of strength. Daily push-ups, repeated sets, constant sweat. In the mind, this takes on a beautiful name: discipline. The hero believes that the more rigid he is with his own body, the faster it will respond. There's no room for doubt, no pause. Only repetition, only willpower, only strength. This fantasy is powerful because it pays off quickly. In the first few days, the body reacts. The chest swells slightly, the arms stiffen, the breathing seems firmer. The mirror confirms the internal narrative. It's working. And when something works initially, the mind creates a dangerous rule. Continuing in the same way will bring endless results. This is where the illusion sets in. Discipline ceases to be awareness and becomes stubbornness disguised as virtue. The problem is that the body doesn't think in terms of pride. It responds to stimuli, balance, and recovery. While the mind celebrates blind constancy, subtle signs begin to appear. A joint that takes longer to warm up, a shoulder that closes slightly more than normal, breathing that no longer keeps pace, small warnings, almost imperceptible, muffled by the belief that stopping is weakness. The hero ignores them because he was taught that heroes don't retreat. The initial illusion feeds on this idea. Absolute discipline solves everything. But what nobody tells you is that discipline without intelligence exacts a high price. Daily repetition, without adjustment, begins to wear down invisible structures. It doesn't hurt immediately. It doesn't scream. It just wears away. It's like a blade always passing over the same spot, day after day. On the outside, everything seems solid. Inside, something begins to give way. At this stage, many confuse silence with progress. They think that the absence of intense pain means adaptation. But in reality, the body is conserving its response. It's entering a state of containment. Strength stops increasing. The quality of movement decreases. And the hero, still trapped in the initial fantasy, decides to do what he always did when something doesn't work. He pushes a little harder. That's the trap. The illusion that discipline is just about continuing. Hero discipline isn't born here. It begins when that fantasy starts to crack. If this part of the journey has already made sense to you, leave a like now. This helps this discipline archive reach those who are also trapped in this silent illusion. And if you want to continue walking alongside this reflection, subscribe to the channel. The hero's journey. It's not about doing more. It's about understanding better. There's a mistake that almost no one sees because it doesn't reveal itself in the mirror. It doesn't appear as an aesthetic flaw. It doesn't manifest as immediate pain. It doesn't abruptly interrupt training. It acts silently. While the hero believes he's building something solid, this mistake works in the background, corroding the foundation that sustains all progress. The invisible problem isn't a lack of effort. It's an excess of unconscious repetition, repeating the same movements. Every day creates a false sense of control. The routine becomes predictable, almost comfortable, even when it hurts. The body learns the pattern and begins to conserve energy, diverting tension to structures that shouldn't support that continuous effort. Shoulders close, wrists stiffen, shoulder blades lose function. But none of this explodes all at once. Everything happens slowly, like a wear and tear that only time reveals. The absence of alternation is the first warning sign. When pushing is always more important than pulling. When flexing is never balanced by stabilizing, the body begins to reorganize itself to survive the imposed pattern. It's not evolution, it's defensive adaptation. Posture changes, breathing shortens, movement loses depth, yet the hero continues because he has been taught that stopping to listen to the body is a sign of weakness. The second mistake is ignoring the internal rhythm. Training every day without varying the intensity means the nervous system never fully rests. Even when the muscle seems ready, the mind is already overloaded. Constant vigilance turns into permanent tension. Breathing ceases to be fluid and becomes restrained. The body doesn't scream, it shuts down. And when that happens, progress stagnates without apparent explanation. This silent wear and tear is treacherous because it doesn't just rob you of physical strength, it undermines confidence. The hero begins to doubt himself. Why am I not evolving if I'm doing everything right? The answer lies precisely there. Always doing things the same way isn't discipline, it's blind repetition. Hero discipline demands listening, adjustment, and intention. Without these, training becomes a cycle that consumes energy but doesn't build identity. The invisible problem doesn't demand attention with immediate pain. It demands awareness. And many only realize it when the limit has already been exceeded. If you recognize this silent burnout in your own routine, comment below a word that describes how your body has been responding lately. One word is enough. There is a precise moment when the battle shifts. It's not when the body finally fails, nor when the pain explodes. It's when the training continues, but progress doesn't respond. MoonKnight reaches this point in silence, realizing that he can still execute the movements, still sweat, still persevere, but something essential has stopped progressing. It is there that the truth is revealed. The enemy was never the lack of physical strength. The enemy was always the mind trapped in stubbornness. Stubbornness disguised as discipline is treacherous. It makes the hero believe that repeating the same mistake every day is a sign of character, that ignoring the body's signals is proof of courage, that suffering more automatically means evolving more. But this thought doesn't strengthen, it hardens. The mind closes, the body obeys out of obligation, and training ceases to be a process of building and becomes a ritual of attrition. MoonKnight realizes that pride is the most silent villain in calisthenics. Pride in not resting, pride in not adjusting, pride in not admitting that something is wrong. The mind insists on conquering the body by force, when in reality it should learn to listen to it. And the more this listening is ignored, the further progress recedes. The effort continues, but evolution disappears. The body enters survival mode, not growth mode. This is where hero discipline begins to take on a different meaning, not as blind insistence, but as applied awareness. Discipline ceases to be repetition for the sake of repetition. It becomes about choosing to adjust, choosing to alternate, choosing to respect limits without abandoning intensity. The mind needs to accept that suffering without direction is not bravery. It's a waste. This inner shift isn't comfortable. It demands humility. It demands admitting that the pain wasn't teaching anything. that the exhaustion wasn't a sign of progress. That willpower alone isn't enough to sustain an evolving body. MoonKnight understands that training like a hero isn't about fighting against your own body, but about aligning mind and movement in the same direction. If that moment has already arrived for you, if in some training session you realized that persisting was no longer working, leave a like. This keeps that record of discipline alive and reaches others who are trapped in this same silent battle. And subscribe to the channel, because this journey isn't about shortcuts, it's about learning to walk through the shadows with conscientiousness, constancy, and hero discipline. The real turning point happens when the hero stops training by instinct and starts training consciously. MoonKnight understands that hero discipline isn't about enduring more pain, but about applying intelligence to effort. Alternating stimuli ceases to be an advanced strategy and becomes a matter of survival. The body doesn't evolve when it's attacked in the same way every day. It adapts, defends itself, and then crashes. The mistake was in the blind repetition. Same movements, same rhythm, same emotional charge. The nervous system goes into constant alert. The tissues never reorganize and strength begins to disappear without warning. It's not weakness. It's ignored physiology. When the hero realizes this, the training changes its language. Rest ceases to be seen as a pause and becomes an active part of the building process. It is in the silent interval that the body repairs fibers, adjusts joints, and restores power to the mind. MoonKnight learns that insisting without a break keeps the body in survival mode. Introducing strategic rest changes the game. Training stops draining and starts returning. Posture becomes another breaking point. Aligned shoulders, lively shoulder blades, active core, controlled breathing. Each technical adjustment transforms a common movement into an act of precision. The push-up ceases to be just pushing the floor. It becomes controlled, distributed tension, clear intention. The body responds differently when it understands that it is being guided, not forced. Conscious execution changes everything. Slower repetitions, intentional pauses, total control of the descent and ascent. MoonKnight no longer trains to finish the workout. He trains to master the movement. Number loses importance. Quality takes over. This is where training ceases to be a fight against the body and becomes an alliance. Hero discipline is born at this exact point, when strength and awareness walk hand in hand. The hero stops destroying himself to prove something and begins to build himself up to endure. If any technical correction has completely changed the way you train, comment here. What was it? The transformation doesn't arrive with a bang. It doesn't explode. It doesn't announce victory. It settles in slowly, almost imperceptibly, like something growing while no one is watching. MoonKnight realizes this when his body finally responds, not with brute force, but with stability. His movements become more solid. His breathing finds rhythm. The trembling disappears not because the pain has vanished, but because control has arrived. This is where the training changes texture. Before, everything was effort. Now, there is intention. The body no longer fights against each repetition. It cooperates. Shoulders support. Core responds. The mind remains present. Less anxiety, less haste, more precision. The strength that emerges here is not displayed. It is felt. The ego, which once screamed for numbers, begins to fall silent. There is no longer a need to prove anything. MoonKnight understands that true evolution is not about lifting more, doing more, suffering more. It's about sustaining. It's about repeating with quality. It's about maintaining composure when fatigue tries to steal form. This transformation is not immediately visible in the mirror, but it is profound in behavior. The hero realizes that now he can stop before making a mistake, adjust before failing, breathe before collapsing. This is not weakness. It is physical and mental maturity. Training ceases to be a constant battle and becomes vigilance. Full attention, applied discipline. Hero discipline ceases to be a concept and becomes daily practice. The body responds consistently. No peaks, no sudden drops. The evolution happens silently, but it is lasting. MoonKnight feels that something has changed, not only in his strength, but in his identity. He no longer trains to become something distant. He trains to sustain who he is becoming now. This is the point where many give up, because there's no applause. But it's precisely here that the true hero is born, when no one is watching, when there's no external validation, just consistency, control, presence. If this type of transformation makes sense to you, leave a like. He keeps this vigil active and makes this type of content reach those who are also training alone, in silence. And if you want to continue walking alongside this journey of discipline and rebuilding, subscribe to the channel. Here, evolution isn't noisy, it's real. The body has already responded. Identity has begun to change. And when that happens, the journey begins. It enters another layer. Discipline has never been about persisting. That's the most comfortable lie in training. Persistence is easy when the ego is in control, when pain becomes justification, when suffering serves as proof of worth. The difficult thing is to stop. The difficult thing is to look at your own movement and admit that something is wrong. MoonKnight learns, as he goes through this journey, that true discipline is not stubbornness, it's courage. Courage to slow down when everything inside you wants to speed up. Courage to correct when pride demands you ignore it. Courage to face your own shadow when it appears disguised as determination. Because the shadow in training doesn't shout, it whispers. It tells you that you need to do more, even when your body is asking for adjustment. It convinces you that resting is weakness, that changing strategy is giving up, and many fall there. Mature discipline is born when the hero realizes that evolving without self-destruction requires awareness. It requires constant vigilance. It requires accepting that progress is not a straight line, but a process of listening. The body speaks, breathing betrays, posture reveals. Ignoring these signals is not strength, it is escape. MoonKnight understands that the real battle is not against pain, but against the illusion of absolute control. When you learn to pause before collapse, to correct before injury, to respect the body's timing without abandoning the commitment, something changes inside. Discipline ceases to be punishment and transforms into identity. Training, then, ceases to be an act of violence against oneself. It becomes a silent pact, an agreement between mind and body to continue, but in a sustainable way. Not less intense, more intelligent, not easier, more conscious. That's when evolution stops being momentary and begins to last. This understanding doesn't come early. It comes after the mistake, after the frustration, after the silence in which the body no longer responds. And perhaps that's why it's so valuable, because those who arrive here no longer train to prove anything. They train to stay. If this reflection resonates with you, comment with a word or short phrase. That represents your current relationship with training. It can be something simple, honest, and direct. This space is also part of the journey, where shadows are acknowledged, not hidden. Discipline continues, quieter, firmer, more genuine. Discipline doesn't end when the video finishes. It continues when the screen fades to black and you return to the silence of real training, where no one applauds and no one watches. If this journey resonated with you, leave a comment using the phrase, "I remain vigilant." Not to prove anything, but to make your presence felt, to acknowledge that you are still here, aware of your limitations, attentive to the shadows, willing to continue. If you want to walk alongside this process, signing up isn't an automatic gesture. It's a silent agreement to continue exploring the discipline with clarity, accuracy, and identity. And a like isn't empty support. It's what keeps this vigil visible to those who still train alone, thinking they're lost when, in reality, they're just in the middle of the journey. This fight doesn't end now. There's a new chapter of this journey waiting just around the corner. If you feel it's time to move forward, stay with me.